Remember the Ring of Blood? World of Warcraft is basically getting that, but it's a full-blown game mode. It's a boss rush. We've played a hell of a lot of it on PTR, so today you'll learn exactly what Dastardly Duos is and is not. And not on a surface level. You see, our first impressions of this were basically disappointment and confusion, but then we pushed it a little bit further and tested it fully, and there's actually real gameplay there and a lot to push. So here's the deal, right? Patch 11.15 is adding two kind of proper gameplay-focused features. One of them is the Horrific Vision Remaster, which thankfully is awesome, and the other one is this, Dastardly Duos. It takes place, right, in the Undermine Arena, and it's partially a score attack kind of mode. And its name is also a lie, right? Because the name comes from the fact that you fight two dungeon bosses at the same time. Except that if you're up for it, you can fight three. You can even fight four if you think you can handle it. And of course, a huge thanks to our friends at today's sponsor, who are such a quality of life upgrade and let you go from idea to done fast. It's Squarespace. Whenever I needed a job site to expand my team, well, guess where I went to? Squarespace. For the landing page for our game, I went to Squarespace, and that's because they make getting the job done simple, fast, cross-device, all while looking fantastic. You, of course, have got their award-winning templates that get you started off with a real strong foundation, and then design intelligence with Blueprint. Blueprint actually guides you through building your own template. It is so satisfying, and it means that if you're not a designer, well, that's okay, because they take care of it for you and they keep you on the right track. Their block-based editor makes then crafting the details of your website so simple so that you can focus on design and content. And if you want even more control, Fluid Engine does just that. It is so cool. You can granularly move things without it breaking on like an iPhone. It's so cool. And I gotta be real, even just saying this as an employer, I think that everybody should have a killer website that represents them. Number one, it's just a good creative thing for you to do. It's a way where you can try to represent yourself in the internet, and that will help you maybe hone your sell, hone your portfolio. It'll be great for jobs, all of that stuff, perhaps even your side hustle. Or if you're doing that, well, they have got e-commerce completely covered, right? They can do digital products, physical products. They'll hook up to your shipping provider. Now they support courses. They've got native video support, which can actually also be on courses, be membership videos. They do memberships. They do bookings. So if you're a hairdresser, there you go. If you're doing yoga, there you go. If you're coaching people in World of Warcraft, there you go. And the overarching point is this. They give you all the tools that you need to thrive online in one place, and they make it easy so that instead of tinkering around with things that don't move the needle, you can actually just build your site and start running your business, showing off your portfolio, whatever it may be. Now you can go to squarespace.com/Bellular Gaming and you can actually build your site with a free trial. There, just have fun, build your site. And when you're ready to send it live, you'll get 10% off your first purchase of a site or domain with code Bellular Gaming. We begin just like the Ring of Blood with a goblin fight promoter and Woden the troll servant. So from here we can pick up the quest, order some food for collection from Woden, and then we can queue up for the instance. Now the quick version explainer is that it's a crazy arcade style score attack, but you can basically play it however you'd like, though it's definitely intended for a full party. Though if you don't have a full party, you can actually bring in some follower NPCs to fill out any gaps in your comp. And if you want to solo it, you can actually tell those NPCs to go away. So your first objective here is to clear all of the trash, and once that's done, two dungeon bosses will spawn at the same time. Now these bosses spawn from a fixed list, and that list will get bigger every week, and they're almost all more simple bosses from Classic and the Burning Crusade. Now once they're done, you will get two more, and after you clear everything, you'll get a loot chest with some items and a piece of item level 632 veteran warbound gear to send over to your alts. That does sound simple enough, and in a way it is. You can just spam this for tons of 632 gear for your alts, but then there's the fun part. Right? Then there's where the real mode starts, and that is with score. So at the top of your screen, you've got a 5-minute timer that's ticking down, but don't worry, it's not a Mythic Plus style timer that determines your rewards or anything like that. It's just there for score. So speed is everything because it is tied to score, but it's not everything. And this is where all the experimentation and a hell of a lot of Blizzard trying game design actually comes in. So here's the thing, Blizzard have went a bit experimental with how scoring works, to the point where this is more interesting than it first appears. Okay, so to start, you can make things harder for yourself, and a lot of that's via food buffs. So Woden can take your food order and then leave it in the arena, and that can get you things like a 30% buff burger if you just want to clear it faster. Or more importantly, things like a fish that nerfs you massively but doubles your score, or a challenging hot dog that also doubles your score but randomly will stun you. Now, earlier I also said that speed is not super important for this, and here's why. The trash phase is actually a disguise for what's actually a setup phase. So, hidden in the wooden props, there are cheery bombs that activate double score zones. And then there's another double score zone that will spawn in later by itself. So if you're aiming for score, your goal is to manage all of the trash staying alive while moving the bombs, all to ensure that those zones overlap. And then when they overlap, you make sure you kill everything in that overlap for massive gains to your score. So there's that gameplay, but there's also other items that make life harder and get you more score. One of them is the Dastardly Banner toy, which is actually kind of useful. It brings all trash to one location, fixated on whoever used it. Then there's the Bullhorn of Calling. This will actually summon in more bosses. So yes, you can have 3 or 4 bosses at once for some absolute chaos. And then there are burner clocks, which extend your time. So basically, if you have those, there's no need to rush crazily. You do get more score for speed, but you also get score for not dying, for using more items that make it harder, and for killing enemies in the score zones. And that's especially the case with overlaps because, well, 3 doubles is an 8x multiplier, which is kind of massive. So overall, right, this is simple, and it's actually real satisfying. And I think this is Blizzard's hypothesis. They're testing new types of low-stakes gameplay. So easy content in World of Warcraft is basically just pop your cooldowns and nuke it. Hard content is usually super stressful just to get a clear. But with this, they're trying something that's in the middle. Essentially, bringing a group with the right talents and a game plan is going to be way more involved than just saying, bring your biggest pumpers. And that's especially because on PTR, our gear was scaled to a very low eye level 619. So instead of being a gear thing, you'll really be getting more results out of players who know how to position mobs and hold DPS, to actually play the game like right, to use all the mechanics. Or maybe with strats, like bringing in a sustain tank and then a 4th DPS instead of a healer, or maybe stacking blood DKs for the mass grips. It's all that kind of strategizing around score. So it's clearly designed for groups of friends who don't want to be stuck in the Mythic Plus mines, but still want something that is World of Warcraft gameplay that gives them some form of goal. So basically with this, I think the name of the game for Blizz is variety, and they're kind of winning here. Now, if the score attack thing does not sound like your thing, and I totally get why it wouldn't, that's also fine. There are no rewards from reaching super high scores. I mean, there's the big reward of bragging rights. You'll be able to stand on this podium and just show off your stuff to the world. And as far as podiums go, it's kind of neat. It starts by showing score, but you can unlock other things like average item level and distance traveled. You can even get a toy version if you just want to show yourself off somewhere else. But seriously, the other rewards, even the achievements, are basically just for going and doing the content. I think Blizzard knows that if there is some sort of reward that's an achievement or a mount and it's behind something that's super, super hard and it's not M+ or raid, that a whole bunch of players are going to get very, very angry. Though the upshot of that being that rewards are basically participation trophies kind of does blow. So every week for 6 weeks, this will run. You'll get a new quest to clear 1 round for a bag that's got some champion gear in it. That's really easy, so people will be getting loads of champion gear for that. Towards the end, on week 5 or 6, the weekly quest will also give you an albino turtle mount, so I'm sure that will drive a whole bunch of people to this. I would say it's worth you trying out, even if it does not sound like your thing. If you actually try to play with the score and everything the game designers have cooked up, you can actually have a really good time with this. But there are problems. Okay, look, this would not be a Blizzard experiment if there were not gripes, and these ones are actually serious. So look, if you are on the team and you're watching this, I like what you're trying to do, but have a think about these, bring them to your lead. I think Blizzard can dodge quite a few bullets here, especially with one thing that Blizzard really struggles with in general, and that's expectation management. I mean, do you remember them hyping up, promoting the Codex of Chromie, and then you go into the Codex of Chromie, and there's basically no gameplay to it? Oh, we could have similar problems here. Our very first runs of this had us genuinely wondering what the hell this was even supposed to be. The actual point of this mode was not explained by quest dialogue or the first tutorial run. The Dastardly Banners effect was not explained, and the whole structure just felt a bit off. It was confusing, it was weird. When we were testing, right, we were there making a point of checking out every nook and cranny, every area, trying to find the interactable items, all so that we could tell you about it. And when we did, and we actually worked out how it all fits together and really tried to play the score mode, God, it was actually really fun. But here's reality. Most players will hop in, they will press W, they will only pay attention to what is made absolutely obvious. And that even means they'll miss simple stuff. As an example, the food is on a table behind you whenever you spawn in. And incredibly strong items like a permanent 50% move speed buff, well, that's over in the corner. A lot of people will actually miss those. You don't start with any of the items that make it interesting either. Things like, say, the bullhorn that summons in more bosses. And yes, a player shouldn't use that in their first run, but if the player knew, oh my god, there's a thing, and if I click it, I'll spawn in an extra boss, that might give them a hint that there's more to this than just pressing the W key and being done as soon as possible. And it's that perception that will murder this mode. Like, you've actually got to farm some of those cool items out by doing a bunch of speedy runs just to get the final chest. And once you've got those items and you can play the score game, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. But basically, that's the fun part. It was not explained pretty much, well, at all. And I can see what will happen here. A bunch of people will queue in, they will breeze through this, they will not understand any of the score mechanics, and they will move on thinking it's pointless. And as much as Blizzard have basically made the rewards a participation award because they know if they lock things behind score, they will get angry people on Twitter and on forums, it also means that score literally does not matter. There's no cool prestige title, prestige mount, prestige achievement that you get for really pushing and mastering this new mode and engaging with the gameplay that the game designers designed. No, the rewards basically don't have much to do with what the game designers designed. The mode doesn't really do a good job of telling you about the cool times you can have in it, which just means that this is Blizzard putting their worst foot forward, and by failing a bunch of basic player psychology, this is going to, I think, massively underperform what it really should. Which means this: if you're playing WoW because it's a game and you want to have fun, you want challenge, you want to master something, you really can have a great time here. But there are lots of other problems about how it's framed, and it's a little undercooked in quite a few ways. It is kind of missing something, and ultimately, there's so much cool here, but I'm frustrated, and here's what's missing. By now you know there's a certain type of player who will love this, perhaps the same type of player who would go to the Proving Grounds and try to get a really high score on the Unlimited mode. And that's a pretty cool thing to do. But for so many, this will be a total miss. I understand how a game designer will think, yeah, we'll progressively have more bosses in the pool as the weeks go on. But what that's ultimately going to lead to is a really bad first impression. People thinking that this is undercooked. They'll have barely any bosses, they won't know about most of the score mechanics, and there are no rewards to actually, reinforce the cool mechanics that they designed. That makes this feel very, very, very bizarre. A lot of people will look at and think, wow, Blizzard, do you really just want us to kill some random bosses in some random instance with zero challenge for 6 weeks just so that we're logging in and paying a sub fee? And in a way, that's a super unfair thing. But looking at how the rewards are structured and how the true gameplay of this is basically underexplained and not even part of the main reward system, you couldn't hurt someone for having that opinion. And that is what's frustrating. There's cool things here, but it's just not all tied together. And that means it'll be a great mode for some of you and a total miss for the rest. But even taking it in context, there is some good news. If you don't like this, well, 11.15 has also got Nightfall and Horrific Visions as well as the Season 2 content. And look, Horrific Visions are, honestly, completely goddamn awesome. There is a lot of WoW, but it does highlight a bit of a flaw with this one that I'm going to call missing context. This has the potential to be a cool side activity, but it's got no story, it's got no impetus. It's goblin themed, but that's just window dressing. If this had a bit of story like the Brawlers Guild had, or any sort of mystery or connection to current characters, it would feel relevant to the game, and it could feel like it's something that will stand to the game. And I can maybe see how Blizzard would intend to not tie this to the current game too much. Maybe they want to grow this to make it an evergreen thing. I certainly understand they might want this to be an event that rolls around a few times a year, but the problem is in structuring it like an event where you basically need participation rewards, and you cannot make this a true game mode with true challenge and rewards to match that challenge because it basically feels like an event made to juice up numbers. It just kind of sabotages its own potential. And that makes me sad, not because I'm super disappointed about the game design. No, the game design is great, but the presentation, the wrapping, the rewards, the structure, those are not worthy of the game design. But there is a massive silver lining, and that is that even if you do not like this, well, the horrific visions are genuinely shaping up to be incredible, and you can find out precisely why in this video next.